my name is Sunny. I'm an occupational therapy student at Cincinnati State. My classmates and I, who you'll see in just a second in the rest of the video, are at Recovery Center for several weeks until mid-July. So thank you for having us here in your wellness symposium. We're excited. And we thought it makes sense to just start with what is OT? What is occupational therapy? So that is what we will be going over today, as well as something called SMART goals. So occupational therapy is not helping people find jobs. That's people's first instinct a lot when they hear occupation, which makes total sense. But occupational therapy looks at the meaningful activities that fill your days and your life throughout your life. So an occupational therapist might work with a baby who is having trouble lifting their chest up to play during tummy time. We might work with a teenager who is having some social issues at high school. We might work with someone who is in the middle of their life and they're changing careers and they're going through some like emotional distress or mental stress because of that. We might work with someone towards the end of their life who is having trouble performing self-care tasks like showering or doing their own hair. So if you think of the things you do with your day, from taking care of a pet, taking care of a child, driving to work, it could be related to doing your job. Almost anything that you do could be addressed with occupational therapy, which is really cool. And I think a good way to visualize this is with something called the Kawa Model. So I'm going to show you a visual aid of that. All right, so this is the Kawa Model created by Dr. Michael Iwama. So forgive the messy scribble, but this is how I best understand the information. So the Kawa Model, Kawa means river, looks at life as a river flowing into the ocean. So at the end of your life, you are in the ocean. And around you, the riverbanks, the kind of walls that form this river are your context and environment. So where you're born, your social network around you, these are your context and environment. These rocks that you see throughout the river are difficult life circumstances, so challenges you face from birth through the rest of your life. And they change the flow of the water. So if the water is your life, these challenges change the flow of it. These driftwood pieces are resources and attributes. So they can be positive or negative. They may be strengths that you have or personal things about you that make your life more challenging. We all have those. So these, kind of move through the river and they can be used to your advantage. And then we look at here open space. So where open water is possibility. So with an occupational therapy practitioner in the Kawa model, you're looking at the space and you're thinking, how can I use my attributes, my resources to navigate these difficult life circumstances and improve the flow of the water of my life. So I just think this is a really lovely way to visualize not only life, but occupational therapy and its goal.
I hope everyone's doing good today. We're going to talk about creating some SMART goals. We can use SMART goals to address many different aspects of our lives, such as education, behavior, work, and anything that we really want to improve on. So if you don't know what a SMART goal is, SMART is simply an acronym standing for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And each of these components comes together to create, plan, and achieve effective goals. So when we write a SMART goal correctly, it tells us exactly what needs to be accomplished, by when, and how we'll know when we've been successful. Using this approach, we eliminate the guesswork and generalities that often lead to goals becoming stagnant and ineffective. Using the SMART acronym, we can develop a clear timeline, making it easier to track our progress and also any milestones we may have missed along the way that we need to address. So to start implementing the acronym of SMART, let's look at what specific entails. To be specific, our goal needs to be direct, detailed, meaningful. After all, if it isn't of importance to us, we're a lot less likely to consistently work towards it. But by creating that goal that's clear, it's a lot easier to achieve, and when it's specific, we know how and where to get started. So using action words is a great way to give ourselves a guide. And some helpful questions for creating a specific goal include asking ourselves the 5 W's, which are: who's involved? What do I want to accomplish? When do I want to achieve this? Where does my goal take place? And lastly, why is the goal important to me? If we can answer these questions, then we know our goal is specific enough to be achievable. So when we write a goal, if it's too broad, getting started towards achieving it can be very challenging. A good example of a goal that's not specific would be something like, I want to spend more time with my friends. This is too broad and it doesn't really tell me how to achieve it. So if I add action words, numbers, and deadlines, my goal will be a lot less intimidating. Now I can use the 5 W's to adjust this broad goal to make it achievable. So first, who is involved? That would be me and my friends, right? I could even be more specific and give each friend's name if I wanted. Next, what do I want to accomplish? That would be increased quality time with my friends, right? When do I want to achieve this? So right now it's the beginning of June, so your timeline can vary based on what your goal is. But I could say for this, I'd give myself a month to achieve it or so around July 15th to see if I've made progress. Where does my goal take place? Anyone that's tried to set up a time to hang out with your friends knows the endless conversation of, well, what do you want to do? I don't care. Well, what do you want to do? So how about I say my friends and I will spend quality time together each week at my house for dinner. It's a set place time. We know what we're going to do. Then, why is this goal important to me? Well, my friends are like family, and they give me support when I need to stay positive. So setting aside time to foster those special relationships is really important to me and a lot of other people. So now that we've answered the 5 W's, instead of saying I want to spend more time with my friends, I can use SMART goal writing and say I'll create a group chat with my friends, and each week I'll reach out to plan a dinner together at my house on Thursdays by July 15th. Now I've set a specific goal with an action plan that will allow me to be successful. Now we can move on to the second letter of our acronym.
The second letter of our SMART goal acronym is the letter M, and this stands for measurable. So in order to write and create a successful goal, it's important that your goal can be measured in some sort of way. This can be anything such as precise amounts or dates, and really anything to just tell if you've actually reached your goal. So sometimes if you don't set a way to measure your goal, it can cause you to procrastinate or push it off or just not do it altogether. So if there's a set way to measure if you've reached your goal, it gives you the satisfaction of being able to feel the success of reaching a goal and makes the overall process of goal writing a lot easier. So let's look at an example. Let's say your goal is that you want to start drinking more water every day, which is a great goal to have, but the word more isn't enough because how are you going to really distinguish if it's more than what you're currently drinking? So a way to make this more measurable would be to say, I want to be drinking 8 glasses of water a day by June, whatever the date is, 24th. And this gives you a really specific way to see if you've actually reached your goal because you can measure 8 glasses really specifically. Overall, when making a measurable goal, you really want to make sure that you're including how much of something you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And this gives you several key points to really make sure that you're staying on track for reaching your goal and taking it to the fullest potential you can. And the next letter in our SMART goal acronym is the letter A.
Okay, so after you have decided on the specific goal you want to work on, and you've figured out how to make your goal measurable, now it brings us to the A section, which stands for attainable. So when thinking about your goal and thinking about how to be most successful in achieving your goal, you want to think about how you can make this goal attainable. So how are you going to achieve this goal? What actions are you going to do to achieve this goal? And how can you make a plan to achieve the goal? So some examples of this are, if your goal is to drink 8 glasses of water a day, you made it specific, you figured out how to make it measurable, by keeping a log of how many glasses you drink each day. And so in the A section, we're going to say, what actions can I take to help me achieve this goal? So what you could do is set an alarm clock for the times of day you think you should drink the bottle of water, or you can have the 8 bottles filled up and ready to drink for the day. And when you're finished with the bottle, put it right back where the other bottles are so you can see how much you've drank for the day. So another thing you want to think about as far as the A section is that you're making a goal that's realistic and something that's possible for you to achieve. So, for example, if you have a goal to lose weight and your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you don't want to set a goal, to lose 20 pounds in a week. A much more attainable goal would be losing 20 pounds in 3 months. So that you just have to remember to make a goal that is something possible for you to do in a healthy way.
The next part that we will be considering in the SMART goals is the R. Now, the R stands for relevant, and for some people that may not understand what relevant means, it means to be closely connected or appropriate to what is being done or considered. Now, the 4 aspects that will be considered during this relevant process is to be reasonable, realistic, resourced, and results-based. Nobody sets a goal for the fun of it. This goal needs to matter, and you need to have significance behind it. Having the same goals as everyone else means that you have other people's goals that doesn't have much meaning behind it to improve for yourself. When setting a goal, ask yourself what this goal really means to you. If the goal matters to you, then making time in your schedule or in the budget to achieve the goal will make sense. Once you identify that key benefit, incorporate it into your SMART goal so that you can get a large picture, and then apply of how achieving it will help you and how it will contribute towards the goal. An essential component for these goals is that it's important that you want to reach these specific goals. Motivation can have an enormous impact on this goal process. When coming up with these relevant goals, begin by taking a look at your profile, such as history or experiences you're dealing with now, patterns of daily living, interests, environment, values, and your needs. Now, some questions that will be important to reference to during this process is this a worthwhile goal for me right now? Is it meaningful to me, or just something others think that I should do? Would it delay or prevent me from achieving a more important goal? And then, am I willing to commit to achieving to this goal? Considering all of these different components will help with clarification, provide direction, enhance your motivation if necessary, and providing the appropriate steps that is essential for moving forward. It will also help you guide into this goal setting and focusing your efforts to increase the chances of achieving your goals. It's important to our personal and professional needs to have these type of goals to keep us focused towards a positive, self-driven path.
The last letter of SMART for SMART goals is the letter T, which stands for time-based. Other resources may refer to it as timely, time-constrained, or time-bound. So what are time-based goals? Time-based goals are goals that you want to have achieved by a specific time date or completed within a certain time frame. For a goal to be time-based, it must have a starting and ending date for you to be able to track your progress in achieving your goal. It's basically setting a personal deadline for something you want to accomplish by a certain amount of time. It's important for goals to be time-based in order to know whether you are making good progress on your goals as time goes on. An example of a time-based goal could be making a goal to have walked 10 miles in a day by training over the course of a month. So let's say starting July 1st, I could plan to start walking every day. I begin walking 2 miles a day and gradually increase the distance by 1 mile every half a week for the whole month of July. Once the end of July rolls around, I will know whether I've met my goal of walking 10 miles in a day through training over a month, building up my endurance, because I will have tracked my progress and evaluated how I was doing on the deadline's date. Giving a goal a deadline is also a good motivator for reaching your goal, since it creates a sense of urgency and gives you something to focus on in order to reach your goal. Some questions to ask when creating time-based goals are, does my goal have a deadline? Some examples of a goal without a deadline could be, I'm going to learn guitar, or it could be, I'm going to become a better writer. These are good goals, but they don't have specific time deadlines for when you want that goal to be accomplished. So if your goal does not have a deadline, you could ask yourself, by when do I want to achieve my goal? How soon do I want to reach my goal? Is this goal something that's going to take more time or less time? When coming up with time-based goals, you can ask yourself, what can I do 6 months from now? Is there a specific project I want to have completed? Is there a special training I want to take? Is there a hobby I could pick up? Another question is, what can I do 6 weeks from now? This question is similar to the first one, but it's in a shorter time. So is there something that I want to accomplish that is doable in about 6 weeks? And then another question is, what can I do today? Similar to the previous ones, but basically asks, what are the things I can accomplish right now, or at least by the end of today? And then, what should I have achieved by the halfway mark of the time set for reaching my goal? So, something else that is helpful to add when creating time-based goals, especially with longer goals, is to add check-in times with dates. These check-in points can help you keep track of the smaller accomplishments you reach on your journey to completing your main goal. And that is T for time-based, which is useful for creating SMART goals.